I think the great thing about social media is you can really get to know someone almost entirely through looking at who they are and the way that they present themselves on social media. I feel like being consistent in that too. Like I said, for 8 years, I've shown up and said, "Hey, I do real estate on Instagram." People who follow me or who are new followers, like it's consistently there.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Toni Singh.
And I'm Jenny Woon.
And we have Molly Rodham from the Jared and Molly real estate team in Phoenix and Scottsdale, Arizona, with us today. Hi, Molly. How are you? Thanks for joining.
Yes, of course. I'm so excited to be here.
Are you right in the heart of Phoenix?
We are, yeah. So we border like Scottsdale, Phoenix, Arcadia.
Before we get started on the questions, we always ask our guest, what is their superpower? So Molly, what's your superpower?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like I'm very decisive. I'm a mom, so I feel like I'm very calculated with my time. I don't know what my superpower is, but I feel like being decisive has helped me a lot in business.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't know. That was just what came to mind.
So learning and then doing.
Execute.
Yes. Tell us a bit more about your background and how you and your husband, Jared, got into the business.
Yeah, so we actually met at Keller Williams like 8.5 years ago in our I don't know if anyone's from Keller Williams, but they do a lot of like agent training classes. So we were in those together, not as a couple, just as friends. And long story short, eventually ended up dating. And here we are 8.5 years later, husband and wife with baby on the way, and run a really great, amazing real estate business. Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you were at Keller Williams, when did you transition to the current brokerage that you're at right now?
So we were at Keller Williams for maybe 8 months, 7 months. And then we switched to another brokerage. We just moved, actually. We were there for like 7 years. Went through this kind of entire rebuild of our business and decided if we were going to move brokerages, like with our rebrand and our rebuild, now is the time to do it. So we moved probably 5-6 months ago now to North & Co., which is a local,
it's newer.
A local brokerage. Yeah.
Okay. And why did you think that was necessary?
I didn't think I just thought we had been with the same company for so long. We owed it to ourselves to just explore what I feel like a lot of agents right now are kind of at this point where they're like, what's next? How do I get motivated again? Like, just a refresh feels really good. And that's kind of where we were at. But we realized what was so important when we did move was we are at a brokerage now that has such a good community and a lot of agents that do similar production to us. And so I've learned just so from going into the office and being surrounded by like-minded people, I've learned so much from being there that I didn't think it was needed, but it was definitely needed.
Amazing. Good that you saw that transition successfully. So what sets you and Jared apart different from any other team or power couple that's working in the business together?
I think what's great about real estate is that you can be exactly who you are and attract people who are for you. And so I think what maybe doesn't set us apart, but what has worked really well for us in our business is just being 100% ourselves, attracting people who are like kind, working with people that we absolutely love. I think our vibe and our motto has always been like, we're not salesy. We're not going to show up in a suit and tie. We're very relatable. We're very good at what we do. And I think for our clientele, that's kind of what they want. When I started, I felt like it was like you, especially like you had a name tag, you wore a dress and heels, tried to fit into this mold. That was what you thought a realtor was supposed to be to everyone else. And I think early on, Jared and I realized like, let's just be ourselves. Then you attract people who are like you, and you like find like people want that from you. Um, and so I think what sets us apart is just us being us. We're
Amazing.
relatable. Yeah.
So I'm hearing authenticity,
Mhm.
Yes.
which really is working with you guys and your business and your life.
Yeah.
Um, I'm curious, what kind of effective tools do you and your husband utilize to work with each other, both professionally and personally? It's not
Um,
always easy, right? But it looks like you guys are a dream team.
yes. Do you mean so I think what's worked well for us is this year, especially, I kind of mentioned that we went through a rebuild of our business. I think everybody felt, if you've been in this business for a little bit, like the last 2, 3 years were just absolute craziness where we were just kind of
Mm,
trying to stay afloat. I think when you're in a business together and you have kids and you like just have to manage everything all in one, it takes a lot of passing off, and you get really good at just kind of supporting whoever needs the support. Which I
mhm,
think it would be a lot harder actually to work together without the family and like home piece. But
mhm.
when we did this, we realized having like definite roles of what we do in our business was really needed because there was a lot of passing off. But I feel like running a business like a business where each person has their role and their title, or what, like if you ran a company, there wouldn't just be all these people that did everything. It would be like one person handles these things and what they're good at. And so this year we went through and we really broke down like what our roles are.
Yeah.
So in terms of your guys' team working together in real estate, do you guys both with those roles, like are you both team leads? Is one of you better at marketing over sales in terms of strengths? How does that work?
Yeah, so I've really fallen in love with, and I think I'm good at the back end side of
Hmm.
real estate, which is mostly marketing.
Yeah.
Um, and just, I mean, if anyone knows, especially if you're not a team, it's like our jobs are so multi-skilled. Like you have to do so many different things. It's like you're a marketing guru, you're a social media guru, you have to know transactions, keep up with buyers and sellers and listings. It's like I really loved the back end like business side of it, and that's a lot of marketing and client onboarding and that kind of thing. And so yeah, now Jared's doing a lot more of the forward facing, like buyer showings. I handle more of the listings and the marketing side.
Mhm. Mhm.
Is it a two-person team, or do you actually have also assistants helping you in the back end?
So it's Jared and I primarily. We have an assistant, Ashley, who she helps with a lot of our rentals and like things that we need within our business. And then I always say on our team too is our nanny who takes care of
Ah, yes.
while we're.
Yeah.
Can't
But it's primarily
can't
Jared,
live without the nanny.
who's amazing and takes care of a lot of our like task based things. And as baby number two comes, a lot more of like showings, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you, Molly, you have such a big following on social media, and that's how I came across your account. So thank you so much for replying back. Out of all these followers, I'm so glad you were able to reply back to me directly. What can you share with our listeners for those who are starting up in their business and they want to grow a following? And what's the myth that they should know about?
Um, well, I always feel like everyone's goal is to grow a following. And I feel like social media can be used so intentionally and so well without a huge following. So I think if you're starting on social media or your goal is to grow a following, look at why that's important to you. I always say we
Mhm.
sold probably more houses, or we had more leads come through from social media when I had a way smaller following than we do now. So being
Mm.
intentional on there is really important. But also using social media as more like a database just to keep in touch with people, keep in touch with past clients. It's so important. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, social media has been such a big part. I'm sure yours too, but it's been such a big part of our business. I really, really, if I could tell someone to do one thing in their business, it would be get
Yeah.
serious on that platform. or a
Yeah.
platform that works for them.
Did you get your like increase in following after you rebranded, or was it from like the last 6 or 7 months when you switched over to this boutique brokerage? At what point did you see like skyrocket?
Yeah. So I honestly, when people are like, I want to grow flying, I'm like, I've posted consistently on social media telling people, and I use Instagram primarily, but telling people that I did real estate for 8 years, like forever, got tons of leads over there with a very small following. I sat at like 17,000, and I actually recently kind of switched towards marketing towards agents. I went through this whole rebranding. I put it into a e-guide that I sold. And so a lot of my marketing in social media switched to helping other agents. And so I really did see the most following growth when I did that. I think because everybody in our industry is kind of ready for that. Like, okay, how do I be better? How do I make it through this kind of lull in our market? How do I have the time now? How do I kind of like grow? So the majority of it, the big growth came when I kind of switched to agents, helping agents.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that social media has been really important for you guys in terms of leads and conversion.
And
Is
that's,
there a specific process that you follow with the people that are following you in order to convert them to your clients?
you know what? I think the thing that I love about lead generation through social media is that people reach out to us. So there's not a process that like, if you follow us, we reach out to you or sign up for like, it's very organic. And so once you're in our system, or if you reach out as a lead, then yes, we have a process. But the leads that we've gotten from Instagram just come straight to us. Hey, I follow you. I want to work with you. Can we set up a time to chat?
Would you say it's because you're sharing certain things, like you're 100% aligned, right? And that's who you're looking to work with, similar people. Do you think it's just because you're being 100% yourself that they're able to consume the content and relate to you, and which makes them want to work with you?
100%. Yeah. So I think the great thing about social media is you can really get to know someone almost entirely through looking at who they are and the way that they present themselves on social media. I feel like being consistent in that too. Like I said, for 8 years, I've shown up and said, "Hey, I do real estate on Instagram." People who follow me or who are new followers, like it's consistently there. And so I do share also our personal lives when I'm, just the randomness that people want to connect with, to feel like, oh, she's similar to me in this way, or we have this in common. That's somebody that I want to work with. And that's what's great about, I kind of teach, I like talking to other agents about growing their business. And so when they're like, I'd rather go door knock than post on social media, I'm like, you have fun with that. I'd rather show people what I'm drinking for coffee and like,
Yeah.
I'm the person that would rather go door knocking. I
you know
don't.
what?
I hate showing. I don't like showing on social at all. No,
Why?
because I'm a very private person. I also don't personally. I don't like having my kids up there all the time. It's
Oh,
probably because there was one time where I was at Whole Foods. I was posting, and then someone had come up to my son because they followed me on social media. That made me feel uncomfortable. It was strange, and I didn't like it. So, yeah.
and I think that's totally fine. You can 100% not share your kids or things that you're not comfortable with. And if you're just not a person that's comfortable on Insta, like there's other ways to get business. But I feel like you can definitely have a balance of keeping life private, sharing enough to connect with people. But I do feel like that's why if I have someone reach out from Instagram, it's usually they've already made up their mind that they want to work with us. They already know if it's a listing appointment, especially lately. I've been pushing more listings on Instagram. They already know the way that we list homes, the things that we do, the way that we market. And so it's very easy. It's easy conversations. I'm not sitting at their table like going through a
For
book,
sure.
what I'm going to
No,
do.
a lot of value there. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Molly, I'm actually on the same page as you, where a lot of my content is now helping agents improve on their business, giving them tips and strategies, giving them some marketing guides. And I'm finding that by the end, I'm balancing 5 to 10 different social media platforms And that's just not on Instagram. Like everything is having to be managed on Facebook. And then do you even explore TikTok? And then you have to update YouTube. And so I'm noticing you're doing everything in the one account. Am I correct to say that? So how do you find that balance of information so that both are being serviced? Because you're giving information to agents to be like, how do you get more clients? But then you're now the message to the clients is, well, oh, okay, so this is how she gets me as a client. Like, you know what I mean? Like, am I asking the right question here?
I feel like that's kind of a two-part question too. One is like, well, something that I have people ask me a lot is like, okay, well, you've kind of switched your marketing more towards agents. Are you not getting those like client leads anymore?
Home buyers and home seekers. Yeah.
And I say is probably what you've seen also is if you mix it in the right way, it'll work fine. But you're also telling your clients that I'm an expert in my field. I tell other people how to do what I do. But I think like for me, making sure that I'm still setting the message that I help buy, like I help people list houses, I help people buy, trickling it all in the right way works fine. And then I think the other part of your question was talking about all the different platforms that there are kind of, right?
Yeah, I think I know just to have the consistent look and the branding. And not my question is not so much which platforms to go on, but I guess it's just a lot to manage. And so have you been finding that most of the agents are basically best to find you on Instagram and then you lead them to other links?
Yeah, I've realized when I try to do too many things that I don't really exceed at any of them. So I stick to Instagram as my platform for social marketing. I think I'll also say though, if you're making content on one platform, I'm probably at a point where I'll pay somebody else to just repurpose my content because I feel like if you're already making it, that's the hardest part, having somebody else if it's not what you're good at, or if you just don't have enough time to push it out to other websites or platforms or Pinterest or blog posts is probably where we're going next. I've talked to a couple people about doing that. But yeah, I think just managing one is what works best for me because you're on a lot of different.
Yeah. Except for TikTok, I haven't found it to be useful yet.
No?
I mean, it's useful for like
what
great,
about all the TikTok
great
videos?
hacks.
Yeah,
we do TikTok videos, but we then post it on Instagram. Funny enough. So it's just a lot. That's all.
It can be overwhelming, but I think Molly said it correctly. It's like, pick whatever's working for you, go with that. Because then at least you're consistent in doing it all the time. Better to have it somewhere consistently and then see how it goes from there, right?
Yeah, I just try to do too many things. It doesn't work well.
It's good advice. It's because I'm like, oh, a sparkly thing or shiny object. And then, it's difficult when you spread yourself thin if you're focusing in too many places to complete one specific task. Molly, what advice do you have for agents who are in the growth stage of their business, who are trying to increase their production, but they also want to start a family?
I guess I would have a lot of advice on that. I think I have people all the time that having a nanny, having help was the only way that I could grow, that we could grow and have it feel okay and be able to be successful. I think if you're trying to do it all alone, you can do it, but it's extremely hard. So if you're somebody starting a family and you don't have help, don't feel like you need to, it's almost impossible in my mind. Like, that's a full-time job, taking care of a kid or having a family. So that would be really what I would say. If you're ready to grow and you have the means to hire help or get help.
That's good advice.
Yeah. But I think for me, being really purposeful with my time, I've learned is kind of the key to success. Yeah. Is that
I guess also if you're getting a nanny, are you going to go back to work right away? Will you be?
I will 100% take the time that I need, but we have, because we already have a son, I'll have a nanny from pretty much day one. So I'll probably stay
Gotcha.
involved and do things, not be as forward facing and not go on showings right away. But I love what I do. So it's kind of hard to just say, oh, I'll just sit back and not do anything for the next 6 months.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will. I'll take some time off, but also be involved.
I'm
Yeah.
asking because Toni was giving birth and writing deals at the same time. So
That was
Yeah,
me.
but I don't recommend that. I don't recommend that.
And I feel the same way. That was me last time. And I remember thinking, like, I'm taking so much time off this time. Like,
Yeah,
real estate will always be there. There's way more important things. Spend time with your newborn. But I also love what I do. So it's like, if I
yeah.
feel like working and I want to be involved and do things, then I'll do that.
Yeah.
100%. I
Yeah.
was kind of the same way as well. And sometimes it was nice to have those conversations with clients, right?
Mhm.
Rather than
Cool.
being quiet with the baby or the baby's crying all the time. So it was a good mix.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I think that people should do what works for them.
Of course.
100%. Yes. And I
Yeah.
feel like we'll naturally feel what feels right, especially once you have a baby. You're like, okay, I thought I wanted to work and I want nothing to do with that. I want to eat this
For
up.
sure.
With my first, he was a hard baby, and I was like, I want to get back to work.
What's the market doing right now in Phoenix? What continues to attract people to buy there? Toni and I have never been down there
No.
You
actually.
haven't?
So no.
No, but so my husband went down for a stag
Yeah.
and they stayed at this amazing luxury property. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
So I would like to go, but I haven't been out there yet. No.
It's really nice. People move here typically because our weather we get a lot of people from colder states. So it's brutally hot here in summer, but the majority of our year is absolutely amazing. Um, Our market here has done, I feel like we kind of all follow similar trends. Phoenix is a big relocation city, so we haven't seen as much of a dip, but we had the most insane market. Everything came to almost a halt. And then now I think it feels very normal again here, which has just kind of happened seasonally. That happens every year right about now. But it's starting to feel very balanced. What about you guys
Okay.
over there?
Mm.
It's still very active.
Yeah.
I've noticed that on the listing side, depending on what the property is, you might have to vie a little bit more and fight for your clients, right? Provide a solid front just because there's a lot of interest rate conversations that have happened out here as well and will continue to happen from now until the end of the year. So in that way, I feel like buyer confidence can be decreased a bit, especially for investors. But I would say for our clients that are investing in primary residence, they're still buying. They still need a place to put their family.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
consistent with what we see here.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
Mhm.
I'm curious because you and your husband are a top 1% team in Arizona. What's the specific ingredient or process that you guys follow to get your clients' homes sold and also provide top-notch service?
Yeah. So for listings, we realized, well, the last couple of years were so crazy. I think everybody was just throwing listings up. They were selling, we were having 12 offers. It was great. We realized that with our market slowing down, it was really the time to dial in on your listing process and your
Yeah.
listing presentation and the way that you market. And so we recently just went through and kind of rebuilt like what it's like to work with us from A to Z on the listing side. Um, so with that, I don't think listing marketing, I don't think anyone does anything that's so out of the box. I think it's just being really specific on what you're going to do and what you're going to do every time for people and making it just a little bit better than what other people in your market are doing.
Mhm.
Or telling people why why this is better than what other people are doing or why you should be on these platforms. But for us, it starts with always professional photo, video. We do videos for every listing because, as you know, everything is video these days.
Mhm.
Um, we do paid Facebook post. We post to YouTube. We do, like I said, we have a lot of out of state movers. So we do 3D and 2D floor plans for people.
Mhm.
Um, something we started is we do 500 flyers, letting people know about
Ooh,
our listing and then inviting them to our open house to the
yeah.
500 closest neighbors. And then we do a gift box to the closest 8 to 10. The rest of it is just more like marketing stuff. But yeah, we just went through it all. I put it into a really nice, like little marketing guide that we do for every single listing now. Cause I feel like the hardest part about if you're going on a listing appointment and you feel a little bit unsure or just not super confident, it's because you just don't have a plan. You're like I used to go and I'd be
Mhm.
like, oh, well, we do these things and sometimes we do this. This might work well. So just getting really clear on what you do to list someone's house and why it's a
Yeah.
little bit better than what other people in your market are doing, I feel like is the secret.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
And I think you said it right at the beginning, basically telling people what you're going to do and following through with it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
doing the same thing every time. Yeah. It's
Yep.
made it way easier because people know, they know what to expect when you're going on a call, especially in this market. If you are calling your sellers on Monday and saying, hey, here's what I think we should do next. We need to do a price drop. It's not like, well, we could try to do some advertising or we could try this. It's like, we've done everything that we do for every listing to market it. It's the market telling us that we're overpriced. This is why I'm
Mhm.
suggesting a price drop. So I feel like saying
Mhm.
that I've done everything on my end that I can to market and get people in front of your listing or get your listing in
Mhm.
front of people, it's not working. Here's what I recommend to do next. You feel so much more confident calling a seller saying that than like, well, maybe next weekend we'll do an open house or like, I'm going to run some Facebook ads.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I hear you. Systems are so key, and you've created quite a number of guides for agents to download. That some are free, some are charged. Can you tell our listeners where to find these guides and what kind of material or content are they downloading?
Yeah. So I mentioned I went through I really was at a point where I was like, I don't know that I want it was so slow, nothing was happening. I kind of felt just really dull in our business. And so I was almost at a point where I was like, do I do something else? And I all of a sudden kind of just said, no, this is what I love. I'm going to let's go through, rebuild everything, put all these systems in place that make it feel like we're running a business for the next 5 to 10 years versus like chasing transactions like we had been doing when the market was crazy. And so I went through that entire process and I found so much clarity in that. And I realized this is the way everyone is feeling right now. How do I help
Mm.
other people go through what I just went through? Because I've never been more motivated in our business. I've never been so excited. I feel very like, I don't know. It's like, it felt so much better for me that I was like, I wish I could help other people get there because all I get is messages of people who are like, I feel the exact same way. I don't know if this is what I want to do anymore. So long story short, I put it into the 10-step process that we went through when we rebuilt. And then I sell that as a guide for agents who want to go through the same process. And
Awesome.
then, yeah, with that, then I said I did the same thing with our listing. So I went through and I did our listing marketing guide. And then that's actually included right now too with that. So you get the 10-step process I went to rebuild. And then if you want to follow our marketing process for listings, you get that guide also that you can edit and make your own.
So I noticed on your website there was something else as well. I just had a question
Yep.
about whether it's included in the downloadable things or if it's something extra. It was Thrive Naturally, a realtor's guide to organic growth. Is that something separate or is that included in your downloadables?
Sorry, that's just the name of the guide, the 10-step guide. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I love the name, organic growth. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Oh, yeah. And that's because I think what I talked about in the beginning and what I went through is realizing if you're building a business, especially a real estate business, just finding who your brand is, who your ideal clients are, and being really true to like who you are as a person and who you attract is the best foundation to then come up with what your marketing strategy and your lead generation strategy is. And so the process for me that I teach other people is really starting with who you are, who you're trying to attract, how to be organic in your
Mhm.
business, and then putting steps in place from there to grow.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Do you have a marketing background or like a lot of agents are wondering if they should tackle creating this brand and color theme all on their own, or did you hire a specialist who understands branding and kind of created this theme for you?
Yeah, I don't have a marketing background. I've always loved it, though. I think that's really fun in my eyes. We used a logo that we bought off Etsy for like $30 for the 7 years. And finally, it's fun to hire someone professional. So they redid our branding and our website. Bell and Whistle is the company. They're amazing. But I think so much of your actual brand is just being really clear on who you are and who you're trying to attract. And then the branding that goes with that, I think you could totally do on your own, especially if you're a newer agent or somebody who doesn't want to drop a lot of money into something like that. But I think it's your brand, your logo and your colors and all of that matter, but your brand and just who you are is so important in this market.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was really pretty. I love it.
Thank you.
We should do the 5 rapid fire questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the fun part. We always love this part. We're just going to ask a question. Say the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
What are 3 words to describe you?
Organic. True to myself, I guess, organic. I said decisive earlier. And caring.
Okay.
What's your favorite? Love those 3 words. What's your favorite hobby or pastime?
Oh my gosh. Why are these so hard?
It's because you have pregnancy
Because
brain.
it's about you.
Yeah.
I know. We don't have any hobbies right now. Just spending time with friends and family.
Yeah, I like that too. What advice would you give your younger self starting out in the business?
Stick with it. Be true to who you are. It would be those 2 things.
Okay.
What career would you be in if you were not selling real estate?
Probably marketing or advertising.
Yeah.
Or coaching.
You have a knack for it.
Coaching, yeah.
Coaching, one of those.
Yeah. Where can our listeners find you?
Instagram, Molly Rodham Realty, probably the best place. That's
Okay.
where I always am. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have a separate one for your husband?
Yes.
Or is it just the one account? Yeah.
That's mine. His is J_Rodham.
Awesome. All right, Molly. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Oh,
It's so interesting to hear about the market and your process as well. I think a lot of our listeners will really take advantage of some of the tips that you're offering. And good luck in the business.
And guys, if you have any relocation for your clients, give them a call. Top 1% team in Arizona.
thank you so much
Thanks,
for having
Molly.
me. Yes, you guys are the best. This is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks. Good luck with birth number 2. It's going to be fun. Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.